Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. Another strong upside day today. Took a little while for it to connect and actually start going. And what we did end up doing early was moving lower to what I am now labeling as the completion for a minute fourth wave. Now, both wave 2 and wave 4, wave 2 was zigzag, wave 4 more in line with a little bit of a flat. Nonetheless, both very shallow. And that just kind of shows the underlying, lack of a better word, strength in the market right now. And again, that primarily, in my view, is coming from what I'm believing is going to be the dispersion trade, which is where they are selling volatility in the index and then buying the volatility in the components of the index. And that seems to be fitting. And today we kind of saw both sides come into NVIDIA. Early on, it was being hit pretty hard. We're seeing a lot of sellers move in. I'm not really sure, but it could have been a reversal of the positions that they put on, just getting prepared, making enough money, whatever the deal was. And then it basically jumped from, I was down quite a bit. I think it was like 452. Let me just double check what that low was today in NVIDIA. 457. I knew it was in the 50s. So it was 457. And the high was, I believe, right where we are, about 475. Maybe it was closer again to 480. And that's the high we've seen so far, 478, 479. So it got pretty dang close. I would expect that it's likely going to maybe break it before the end of the week. Nonetheless, and also the news on Microsoft, that it came out that they have a new component part or a new pricing schedule for their 365 subscribers and on the corporate level. And they're going to be, it's a new add-on to it, I guess. And they're going to be charging $30 a user. And the stock just took off. I mean, took off. Stock closed up 13, but it was up over 20 at one point today. So very impressive. And again, so I think a lot of that is just moving in, short covering, getting a hold of it before the earnings. Who knew what was really going through the minds of this mad push and sense of urgency to go in and buy Microsoft today. In any case, it did help both the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. All of them participated very cleanly. The Russell had a very, very strong upside day. So again, what I'm viewing this as are the final legs of this minor fifth wave, which will complete once minor 5 is in. It should then complete intermediate wave C and primary wave B. So again, we continue to inch closer and closer, and you can see we're now moving up into those zones which are likely going to complete the whole picture. We'll see. Again, I can't say for certain right now that wave 5 isn't going to extend a couple of times. And again, that could push things even further. So we continue to have fibs that run up, and we continue to have fibs that would show irregular. So everything remains in place for right now, and we will see what happens, and we'll continue to count it. So what did we actually end up completing possibly today? Well, if I kind of just open this up so we can see, it's right now pretty much just looking like just three waves up. But I'm going to bring it down, and let's take a look at the 15-minute chart, and we can see the internals here. And we could say we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pretty much I think we got done with the first minuet, wave 1 of minute wave 5. And we're within a wave 2. If that being the case, we can immediately just take a peek to see what will a wave 2 look like, and what's the potential for that wave 2. So again, this went up, but it was in a kind of like just a spike, but it did not move to a new high. So I'm going to leave that high there, 94.25, as the completion point for Minuet wave 1. And so technically we'd be looking for that. This is does not go along with these fibs that are retracements. 382 for wave 2, 45.75. More common though, 45.69, 45.63. That's 50% and 62%. And that's kind of what we can start to look for. Again, not necessarily have to go that deep. We've seen these corrections, particularly 2 and 4, come in pretty shallow as the trade continues to push, again, with that sense of urgency. And I actually saw a news story where someone was talking about that the buyers just had the sense of urgency to get back into the market. And I'm like, boy, that's something to say. And I think as many people are feeling that we're reaching a top. And whether that top continues on for another 1 or 2 or even 300 S&P points, it's still reaching a top. And this urgency to jump in and buy equities here, well, each to their own. But in any case, if it is only Minuet wave 1 of 5, and now we're in wave 2 of 5, then I think minimum we'd look for 45.75 down to 45.70, 69. Into this zone. We've got the hourly, or no, excuse me, that's only the 15-minute. So let me go back up here so I can see where my moving averages are. Let's get that opened up a little bit. And we have 69, then we have 63. We have the 20. On the hourly, we have the 20 MA sitting at 65. So again, 69 down to 65, and that depends on what happens to the 20. If we continue to drop, we're going to see the 20 just go flat. And then it starts to, that makes it even more of a support level. And I would expect the 50 to go flat. So we have markers coming down that may, should we get a little bit out of control, would begin to provide support as they turn and get flat, particularly right here. So wave 2, then we get a wave 3. Again, now what I've added to the picture are the fibs that are going to go along with minute wave 5. So let me just kind of bring that back up again. First off, we have minor wave 5, and those continue to show here. And those are the ones in white, actually. So what we have, minor wave 5. 618, I'm leaving as a marker only. If the market comes back down, we should find some support there for minor wave 5. If it starts to break there, then we're going to get a little bit closer to saying, well, it might be all done. When the support that the resistance on the way up becomes support on the way back down. And if this one gets broken as well, this is the intermediate C wave. So if they start to break, we're getting additional possible confirmation, all finished. If we reach up and we get to here, or even up at this height and we start to come back, again, they're just markers to show if it breaks, giving additional support that the moves are complete. On the way back up now, this is 1, we come in a 2, we're getting it a 3. What do we have? We have resistance of 46.02. That again is applicable, excuse me, to the minute 5th wave. And the minute 5th wave is connected to the minute 1st wave, all within minor wave 5. So being that this was not all that great, we are going to be looking at the higher end of those resistance levels. And being that 100%, we took care of that today. On the way up, we got up, well, to 45.94. No real resistance right now. It's just the topside marker for the move thus far. Above that, we have 4,602. and then it breaks. I won't be able to add until I get a little bit more inside this to start adding the internals to go on. And one of them would be the one, and then once I get the two, I should be able to then put the fibs together for a third, and then again a fourth and a fifth. So, but I would expect, because we got up to 45.94 today, 4,600 would be a decent break, because we have not done it yet. We've not done and broke 4,600, you can see. So that would be significant just for the move itself. But I am expecting that to be broken and exceeded on the way up. So we have a 3, a 4, and a 5. Now, the next cluster up here, small as it is, but it's minute wave 5 against minor wave 5. And that's where we start to line up. We already have intermediate wave C had surpassed its level. So everything here is just icing on the cake, so to speak, where the market has already shown that, yes, it equaled wave A. Now we're above wave A, which we have been. If we take it back, let's just take a look at the hourly chart. We have been above the price point of wave A for quite a while, and now we've equaled it in length, which is very common between waves A and C, that they equal. So we get another equality, but that's been exceeded. So that's, check it off. They've equaled equality and moving beyond, which is fine. But on the way back down, it's going to give us some additional acknowledgement or support that the moves are complete. Back down to the hourly chart. So moving on up, I don't necessarily think that we're going to be heading into the 1.618 for intermediate wave C, but it's there. And it's now, it comes into play should the market jump into an irregular B wave scenario. Not, again, breaking above 4,600 and getting up there, we're inching our way closer. And you can see even on a minor wave 5 can come in at 1.618 and stop at 47.94. So close, so close. I mean, that's spitting distance. You know, that overthrow gets it up there. So when an all-time new high in this position, if it just got slightly above here, yeah, but it's not necessarily going to be like, oh, the all-time new high, we made it, we made it. It has to really exceed it significantly to shift over that classification and to put all the numbers together like we have the ability. We're going to go up here. So again, that's still out there, but right now my thought pattern is that I'm looking for minor wave 5, the 100%, and minute wave 5 coming in at 2.618 of that small minute 1. And those line up here, 46.38, I'm going to call it, to 46.48. So basically you'd say 46.35 to 46.50. We'll call it all right into that zone. Moving averages right now, all still in alignment for the market to continue to finish this up. On the hourly chart, RSI, we're a little bit oversold. Excuse me. Boy, I'm telling you, these senior moments and these little brain, you know what, we're a little bit overbought. And the red suggests that we're in that extreme part of being overbought. Should be taken care of in this wave 4 that we're basically looking for inside there. We get that 4 coming down. Here are our markers. And then we rally again. Over in the NASDAQ, good old NASDAQ. NASDAQ was basically caught fire because of the Microsoft news, and it just took off. And then it took a little bit, but then suddenly they popped and they moved back into NVIDIA with force. And they were hitting it. They get it back up to 460, 462. They'd run it back down to 458, then 457, 56, all the way down to 452. And then from that point, jacked it strong. And the volume was also pretty good. So that was something as well. Volume in NVIDIA today was 56 million. So that's pretty high for NVIDIA. That's a lot of stock changing hands, more so than what took place in Apple. Apple was only 48 million. So NVIDIA wins the prize today. Netflix up there. Microsoft, 64 million. So again, what we saw was this a big push, a sense of urgency to be long Microsoft. So it was an interesting day to see how this all flipped and pushed. So back over to the NASDAQ chart. Here as well, minor wave 4 completed. That has not moved as it did in the S&P, although it doesn't actually fit. It does not fit. So, because I'd have to go A, B, C, D, E, and it just doesn't fit. It fits better 4, 1, 2. So that fits, and then we're off of the third. So I did leave the third here. Now, again, both markets, but I think it's a stretch at this point to continue to extend this third wave. Can it be? Actually, it can. Because both in the S&P and in the NASDAQ, this fourth wave is pretty shallow compared to what we were looking for, the possibility we could come all the way back down towards 15,600. So, and it came in pretty shallow. And then hook off. Leave it right now as this, but keep our eyes and ears and minds open that it actually was a further extension, and the minute third ended up here, and now we're going to do minute 4. And I'll tell you what, you can run the fibs from there to there, and you'd still be looking for 15,660, but that's coming down off of 16,030. So that's a pretty decent move. And to bring it all the way back down as a minimum in an ABC is possible. I'm not necessarily labeling that in that fashion. Indeed, no, I just want to remove it. And now I duplicated it. Let me do that again. Remove. So leaving it as is, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is pretty small, so that's why I'm leaving open this possibility. But the market really just has to come back down. It just has to go. It can't play one of these like it comes down and it rallies back up, comes back down, rallies back up, comes back down. It needs to just come back down, rally at a B, and come back down at a C, which it did here, but bigger. This would be nice, but it has to be bigger. And so again, as we said, 5660 would be the level with 382. And for fourth wave, that's great. And we would consider this the fourth wave of one lesser degree. So that would also suggest that we're coming back down to 15,735-ish or whatever. So again, we have markers to get the market down there. It's just to whether or not it's going to actually do it. And there's going to be enough sellers to give it that extra little push. And that may happen. That could happen tomorrow, or start at least tomorrow. Now, markers going up. So again, minor wave 5, we exceeded. And again today, nicely, cleanly, both the intermediate wave C and the minor fifth wave. being 618 and 1.618 markers. Those were exceeded, and we've started to fly higher. So putting the 4 into place allowed me to connect the minor wave 5 to the, minute wave 5 to minute wave 1. And our first would be a quality, and that's 16,311. But we could find some resistance at 618, which is 16,090, 91, right in there. But you can see that if this is going to be minuet wave 1 of minute wave 5, it's got pretty high to give it only about 70 more points to put in waves 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I think it's going to be exceeded, but it's going to be left there as a marker. This becomes the target for the overall pattern. And above that, we're up here. So yes, we can get real close to that all-time high, not break it, and turn and drive this market lower again. Whereas this larger ABC on the primary A and B are almost going to be equal. So it looks like it would be one big flat to put in the cycle wave A. And I'll go over that again in the large picture, but now let's get back to the hourly picture and start to break it down. So when I kind of put this back down, I can even come to the 15-minute and then open that up. It does count as a clean 5 up to here. Do we get that wave 2 going? Finding some support at 15,943, which is where the 20 is sitting. It looks like it's going to close right above there, so we start to get real flat this time of day. But below that, we have the 15-minute 50 at 5889. Now, first thing I can put in, let's look at the fibs. If this is wave 1, what would wave 2 look like? 382 would be the minimum. You're looking at 15,916. More common, 50% to 62%, just brings us down to that 50 MA at 15,881. And then if we drop below it, we have 15,846, 850. Those are support levels for a second wave, and then we launch in a third. So again, this is where we were this morning. This is where we ended up today. So we were at 15,733. We got up to 16,000. Nice move, very big, and pretty clean. So the trading again was smooth. A little bit. This was a great move. This was a great move, and so there was money to make. And then it kind of went sideways until the Microsoft news, and then it just took off. So if you had the patience and you were still trading and you caught some of this, nice moves. They were clean. So again, what can we say about the NASDAQ and where it may complete? 16,090, no. I've actually got 16,311, which is where minute wave 5 would be equal to minute wave 1. And then again, minor wave 5 would be equal to minor wave 1 at 16,396. So there's where the battle, I think, comes to play and can have a strong chance of completing here. So we got a little bit of a cluster, but they happen to both be a minute 5 and a minor 5. Outside of that, we'd have to go all the way up. That's the all-time high. And then we have 1.618 for minute 5. 1.618 for minor 5 is up in all-time high territory. So it's irregular B territory. And irregular B actually, compared to what primary B would get to, those are all the way up here. So 19,000, it's there. 20,000, that's there. These are fibs. They're just technical indicators of, I don't know, call it potential, whatever you want to call it. Am I looking for that? Not necessarily. Has the market been in a strong uptrend? Yeah, it actually has. Counter trend, but it's still up. It's still moving up. So, people are trying to get me to define, what I mean. And it's like, well, I believe the whole move is corrective. And even if it goes to a new all-time high, it still remains in that corrective mode. It's just that the way that this all played out, the market went to new all-time highs, if indeed it happens. So I'm just tracking the move. And if we get a wave 3 and it's up to here, we got a 4 and a 5, then we're looking. We're going to knock at the door and break it. But let's see how it all plays out. My first line is right here. We'll see. We will catch it and we will see. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Now we have moving averages are in line. Everything is in line for this to continue. And it may just go all the way through Friday. I mean, we're still sitting with earnings. We've had some today. They're a little bit of a mixed bag. The banks continue to look okay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Tomorrow, we have Netflix and Tesla. Netflix today was up $25. So what are they expecting? Something good, I would imagine. And Tesla continued to gain as well. And they're already giving us previews. There's already previews out there to what Tesla may or may not look like. We'll find out tomorrow, both after the close. Now, as far as other numbers for tomorrow, we have on Wednesday, housing starts and building permits, and those both come out at 8:30 Eastern. And even these lesser economic numbers or data has moved the market. Capacity utilization and business inventories moved the market. Retail sales moved the market. So I'm finding it very interesting what they're choosing and how it all is playing out. So again, tomorrow, housing starts, building permits. Thursday, initial jobless claims, Philly Fed manufacturing, existing home sales, and U.S. leading indicators. Now, the Fed is next week. So we got a lot going on leading up to the Fed next Wednesday. So we shall see. In the meantime, have a great evening, a great afternoon, depending on where you are in the country or in the world, and have a great trading day tomorrow. The next update will be on Wednesday, July the 19th.